Preview. The 20 best movies of 1992. 1992 was a strange year for popular culture. The controversial Mortal Kombat was released, in which part led to the creation of the ESRB video game rating system. MTV introduced their first reality show, The Real World, and Tony Hawk helped launch his famous skateboarding company, Birdhouse. It was the year that Woody Allen left his long-term partner Mia Farrow after she discovered his secret affair with her adopted daughter, and the same year Sinead O'Connor threw up a picture of Pope John Paul II on Saturday Night Live. Michael Jordan was so popular, McDonald's soda burger called him McJordan. Mark Wahlberg was so busy stripping down for Calvin Klein, and Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You played over and over again on the radio. 60 Minutes was still the highest rated TV show. Criss Cross had everyone jumping while wearing their pants backwards, and the Toronto Blue Jays became the first and only Canadian team to win the World Series. Andy Moorhan directed the first music video for Guns N' Roses' longest song, November Rain. Wu-Tang Clan released their first record, and Jay Leno became the new host of The Tonight Show. Oh, and it was also a strange year for movies. Aladdin was the highest grossing film of 1992. The Crying Game was the year's sleeper hit. Marissa Tomei won Best Supporting Actress award for her performance in My Cousin Vinny, and Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven took home the Oscar for Best Picture and Best Director. More than anything, 1992 will be remembered most for the emergence of independent filmmakers, the rising popularity of Hong Kong cinema, and many of the best movies being unfairly maligned by critics and ignored by audiences. What follows are the best films of 1992. Super Cop director Stanley Tong, Meet the Cop That Can't Be Stopped. A Hong Kong detective teams up with his female red Chinese counterpart to stop a Chinese drug czar. The Crying Game, director Neil Jordan, the movie everyone is talking about but no one is giving away its secrets. A British soldier kidnapped by IRA terrorists soon befriends one of his captors, who then becomes drawn into the soldier's world. Leo Lo, director Jean-Claude Luzon. Young Leo Luzon lives in a Montreal apartment building with his troubled and highly eccentric family, but he spends much of his time in his own imagination, devising a strange fantasy world where his mother conceived him with an Italian tomato. Leo attempts to cope with his unsettling reality by retreating into his mind, with his meandering thoughts often drifting to his gorgeous neighbor Bianca. Army of Darkness director Sam Raimi. Here's a 20th century guy trapped in the Middle Ages. A man is accidentally transported to 1300s AD, where he must battle an army of the dead and retrieve the Necromancer so he can return home. Braindead, aka Dead Alive, director Peter Jackson. The most undercooked comedy in the history of cinema. A young man's mother is bitten by a Sumatran rat monkey. She gets sick and dies, at which time she comes back to life, killing and eating dogs, nurses, friends, and neighbors. Basic Instincts, director Paul Verhoeven. A brutal murder, a brilliant killer, a cop who can't resist the danger. A valiant police detective investigates a brutal murder that might involve a manipulative and seductive novelist. Glengarry Glen Ross, director James Foley. The Hardest Thing in Life is Sell, an examination of the machinations behind the scenes at a real estate office. Bitter Moon, director Roman Polanski. Some lovers never know when to stop. After hearing stories of her, a passenger on a cruise ship develops an irresistible infatuation with an eccentric, paraplegic's wife. Lessons of Darkness, director Werner Herzog. This film shows the disaster of the Covation oil fields in flames, with few interviewers and no explanatory narration. Hell itself is presented in such beautiful sights and music that one has to be fascinated by it. The player, director Robert Altman. In Hollywood, it's not who you know, it's who you kill. A Hollywood studio executive is being sent death threats by a writer whose scripts he rejected, but which one? The Last of the Mohicans, director Michael Mann. The first American hero. Three trappers protect the daughter of a British colonel. in the midst of the French and Indian War. Orlando, director Sally Potter, Queen Elizabeth I commands him not to grow old. A young nobleman struggles with love and his place in the world. Husband and Wives, director Woody Allen. When their best friends announce that they are separating, a professor and his wife discover the faults of their own marriage. Unforgiven, director Clint Eastwood. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. William Money, a widower with 2 young kids, once a vicious gunfighter, gives up everything after marriage. Now a man named Scottfield Kidd brings him an offer that he cannot refuse. Bad Lieutenant, director Abel Ferrara, gambler, thief, junkie, killer cop. While investigating a young nun's rape, a corrupt New York City police detective with a serious drug and gambling addict tries to change his ways and find forgiveness and redemption. Malcolm X, director Spike Lee, biographical epic of the controversial and influential black nationalist leader from his early life and career as a small-time gangster to his ministry as a member of the Nation of Islam. The Long Day Closes, director Terence Davies, a young British boy comes of age among his loving family and the austere Catholic Church as he realizes his love of cinema and his homosexuality. Reservoir Dogs, director Quentin Tarantino, 4 perfect killers, 1 perfect crime. Now all they have to fear is each other. When a simple jewelry heist goes horribly wrong, the surviving criminals begin to suspect that one of them is a police informant. Hard Boiled, director John Woo, the most action-packed film of all time. A tough-as-nails cop team with an undercover agent to shut down a sinister mobster and his crew. Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, director David Lynch. In a town like Twin Peaks, no one is innocent. Laura Palmer's hearing final days are chronicled 1 year after the murder of Teresa Banks, a resident of Twin Peaks, neighboring town.